Hello, and welcome to Bite-Sized PD. I'm John Edwards, an innovative education facilitator with the Durham District School Board. In today's session, we will look at understanding Google Drive. So let's jump right in. We're going to start here with the DDSB Educator Campus at teacher.ddsb.ca. This is the teacher or educator version of the DDSB mobile campus, student.ddsb.ca. In both cases, you can see that there is a link directly here to Google Drive, as you see within the student campus, just as there is here Google Drive link under the DDSB Educator Campus. In order to make sure that this takes me directly to that Google Drive, you can see I'm in the Google Chrome web browser. And within the web browser, you can see that I'm signed in to my DDSB G Suite account, which is my username at ddsb.ca. So as I'm signed into that, and I click on Google Drive, it's going to take me directly to drive.google.com, and this is my DDSB drive. So as the drive loads, what we want to do is just to begin with a basic navigation, right? So the navigation of how things work within Google Drive. So first and foremost, you can see that we have here quick access. So under quick access, these are the files that I've recently accessed, right? And so I can open any of these files, and this gives me sort of a quick reminder of files that I've recently used within my G Suite account. There's also folders. Folders make a lot of sense to organize your files into a sense that is helpful for you to navigate through them. If I click on one of these folders, if I click on this digital assessment PD, for example, you can see that I have a series of different files within there, right? I can easily navigate back to that by clicking on My Drive. If I click on anecdotal forums, this folder, you can see that there are also folders that exist within this particular folder, right? So you can have folders within folders. So that could be helpful to organize your work in a way that makes sense for you. Okay, so folders within folders, and I can easily get back to that through My Drive. I have here in the root here as well of My Drive, I have a series of files. Ideally, these files would all be located probably, I would think, within folders to make sense of them, to make it easier to organize. But I can easily do that. I can easily, for example, take a file like this, and I can take it and I can left click and drag it, and I can put it into another location like that. Okay, so I can easily move files and folders like that. You can see also here, just to continue with the navigational piece here, on the left-hand side under My Drive, if I click on this triangle here, you can see that I have under My Drive, I have the list of my individual folders here, which corresponds to the folders listing here. So I could click, for example, on anecdotal forums, and it's going to take me into that folder. So Google just gives you another way of kind of navigating through that material. We have also on the left-hand side, we have team drives. Team drives are sort of interesting. They, depending on your situation, you'll have different team drives assigned to you. Probably you'll have this DDSB media drive. This is a drive that contains our copyright clear content, such as photos, sound effects, music, and the like. Right, so this is all available for DDSB members. We have as well here Share With Me. These are files that other users have shared with you. So I can see these individual files here. I can also sort that by when it was shared, the name of the document, or who last modified it. So I can click on here, instead of sorting it by last opened by me, I can switch it to share date, so when it was shared. Right, so I can easily look at that and organize it by earlier this month, earlier this year, and so forth. If I go back to My Drive, there's also a list of recent documents. So these are documents that I have worked with recently, so they appear here. Starred is interesting, so I'll show you how that works. So if I were to go into My Drive and I were to see that there's a document or maybe a couple documents that I use on a regular basis, let's suppose it's this, let's suppose it's this classroom configuration document. If I right click on that, I can click, I want to add to starred. This has now been added to starred. So now if I click on starred on the left-hand side here, it's going to come up as one of these documents. So these are documents that I've highlighted because I use them on a regular basis. Maybe I want to use them later today or this week. So this gives me another way of kind of looking at that content and assorting it in a way that makes sense for me. In terms of creating files and folders in here, when I click on New, I can create a folder. So I could click on folder. I can easily call this a new folder. This new folder would then be created right here wherever I happen to be within my Google Drive. So here is in the root of it. There it is. It gets created right here. I can, however, take files and folders and I can move them. I can move it and drop it in here, right? So I could easily do that if I want to sort of move files and folders around. I could also hit Shift. So let me click on this here. I can hit Shift and select, and I can select with left clicking and holding down Shift. I could select a number of different files as well. Okay. I could as well, another way of doing this, if I hold Shift and hit New Folder, I could click over here on Gubrick, and that's going to highlight all of that content. If I want to just select some individual folders or files, I could hit hold the Control key, Control New Folder, Control Doc Appender, Control G Suite Duplicate Users, Control Gubrick, and so I can highlight all of these different files, and then from there I could right-click and I can move it to a different location. So I could click, I want to move those folders, and I can select, I want to perhaps move it to this folder called Digital Assessment. And then I can click Move, and it would move it to that content, right? So again, so you have like a couple of different ways. You have Shift and left click. This here will highlight the first file, the last file, and anything in between it. Or I can use the Control, and I can individually pick out files or folders that I want to do something with, right? And I can also sort of unclick those if I want to as well, right? Under New, if I go back to that, we also have file upload. So I can click File Upload, and I can upload something from my desktop. So I could take this individual document here, and it will then upload it to wherever I happen to be in my Google Drive. So it uploads it right here into the root. I could also upload an entire folder. So I could do a folder upload, and I could take this whole sort documents, and I can upload that whole folder right into my Google Drive. So another way of sort of adding those documents. I can, of course, also kind of drag and drop content into my Google Drive as well. So to sort of show you how that works, let me just grab a document here, or a folder. So if I have, for example, a folder, so I have this Sort Documents folder, I could take this folder, I can drag it, and as I put that here, let's make this a bit here. I can take this here, and I can actually drag and copy that whole folder right into here, right into the my Google Drive. So I can drag and drop. So it's literally that easy as well. Okay, so I can drag and drop, or I can do a file or folder upload. Under New here, I can, of course, also create my Google Docs sheets and slides for my word processor, spreadsheet, and presentations. Under More, if you haven't gone there, some great other Google features here: Google Forms for surveys and quizzes, the ability to create Google Drawings, Google Sites for websites, and a couple other add-ons that you may have attached to your profile. So there's our sort of document creation and our basic navigation. There's also Trash, which I haven't mentioned before. Trash, if I kind of right-click on a document and I want to remove it, it goes to the trash. Anything in the trash here, it stays in there for 30 days. So I can, with that content that is in the trash, I can permanently delete it, or I can restore it. So if I right-click on this, I can restore it, or I can delete it forever. Okay. Something else, I know a lot of people use Microsoft Word and Microsoft Office documents more generally. If I navigate to one of those that I have in my Google Drive, so here's this parent information letter. Notice that if I double-click on this to open it, what it's going to do is it's going to give me a little preview of it. But for me to actually do anything to edit it, I need to open it with Google Docs. So I need to click this Open With in Google Docs. What it's now going to do is it's going to make a copy of that document in the Google Docs format. That may be good because you may want to be able to use Google sharing and editing features to have that document in the Google format. But maybe not ideal for you is that individual document. You now have 2 copies of that, right? So having 2 copies of this parent information letter Right? So if I go back here, I have 2 copies of it. I have one that is a parent information letter, and I have one that is in Google Docs and one that is in Microsoft Word. So I have these 2 documents, right? So that may not be ideal for you. So a way to prevent that, if that's something you want to do, under the cog here of your Google Drive, I can click on Settings, and under Settings, I can select Convert Uploads. And if I convert uploads files to Google Docs editor format, I can take all those Word documents, those Microsoft Office documents, and immediately convert them into Google's format. Right, so that's something I can do in here. Also here under the settings, while we're in here, you can see there's a few other things here. Under settings, I can click on notifications, and under notifications, I can get some updates about my Google Drive items in my browser, right? And notifications about newly shared items and requests for access and the like. Email, you're not going to get those emails about the Google Drive items, but you will get these individual browser notifications. And you can also see, this is new here under Manage Apps, you can see some of the apps that are connected to your Google Drive, and you can see what's being used, and if you want to, you can remove or disconnect them from your drive. Right? So you can sort of see what you've given permissions to, and maybe you want to make some changes to that. Okay. Something else I'd recommend, if again, we're under the cog here, settings, under the offline, so sync Google Docs, Sheets, Slides, and drawing files to this computer so that you can edit offline. If you're using an ILP device, or this is a Chromebook with under 1-to-1, you don't have other users attached to the device, this is a good idea. So you don't need internet access to access your documents. If this is a shared device, probably not recommended for you to do that. Okay. So sharing, speaking of sharing, so sharing, you have several different ways of accessing that within your Google Drive. I can click on an individual document or folder. So I could click on this folder here. I can click on the sharing. And when I click on sharing, I can type in the name of the person with whom I wish to share this, right? So I can type in Greg Spencer, and I can see this is the user with whom I wish to share. So I can do this directly from within this document. I can decide if the person, I want to give them editing, commenting, or viewing options, and if I want them to receive a notification. If they're a DDSB teacher, they're going to receive that by way of a notification. What I can also do, which can be quite helpful, is I can have a shareable link. So I can take this document, this Brooklyn Village document, right-click on it, and if I click Share, there is this shareable link. So if I click Get a Shareable Link, I have several different options here, right? Let me just actually start with one that I haven't shared. I'm going to click on this one here. I'm going to click on Share. When I click on Share and I click on Get a Shareable Link, it says copy the link and turn link sharing on. So I'm going to click that. By default, anyone at the Durham District School Board with a link can view. So this is the link. I could just share this link with somebody and they will be able to view that as long as they're signed in with their DDSB G Suite account. I can also hit this arrow here and I can select some other options. Anyone at the Durham District School Board with a link, maybe I want them to be able to edit it. Maybe I want them to be able to comment. Under More, I have some other options. Maybe I want anyone with a link is able to access this. So if I switch this to anyone with a link on, I can simply copy and paste that to a different location, and somebody would be able to view that that individual document. Right? They can view it, or maybe you can give them editing or commenting rights. This idea of shared links, I think, is really helpful, because with those shared links, you can take a link to a document, you can post it on a website, you can put it within your learning management system, such as D2L, Moodle, Google Classroom, and people can then look at that individual link. You can make changes to that document without having to re-upload that document to another location. So it's really good if you're sharing content with a lot of different users. Okay, so you can share not just by sharing with a specific user. So again, I could share it with a very specific user by typing their name in here, but I could also share it by way of a link. And you even have this this share with link shortcut as well here when you right-click on a document, and so it gives you that link sharing settings, and I can easily make modifications to that as well. Right. So that's basically how sharing works here. For searching, you can see by searching, if I click on Search the Drive, you can see that I can look up individuals I've recently worked with and collaborated with. So I can see here Jeff Raymer, looks like Fabio, but that is actually Jeff Raymer. I'm going to click on Jeff Raymer here, And you can see that as the owner, these are the search results that come up. I can also sort of change the sort of settings here. So I can change this to looking at specific content here, like maybe a document from Jeff Raymer that has been modified. And I can even set the time where perhaps it was modified. Item name. So there's a lot of different things I can set within my search parameters to narrow down my search. Okay. Under the search drive here, I can also very easily search for specific types of files like presentations, documents, spreadsheets, when it was edited. Under the advanced search where I just was, I can type in the name of the owner, right? Or if something that was owned by me or not owned by me, owned by a specific person, if it's a starred document, if it was in the trash, when it was last modified. So lots of different search features to make that very easy for me to find the documents I'm looking for. So even if you don't have your files organized into folders, the search features within Google Drive are really quite helpful, right? I can also type in the name of a user, so I can type in Craig Spencer here, and you can see that this is going to give me his email address, right? So that is, in fact, his email address, though his alias is craig.spencer@ddsb.ca, so I can type in the name of that individual. This works as well nicely for being able to find students as well and to find their username. If that's something you're looking for within the DDSB. So you can do that universal search and you can find names of staff and students. A few other things in here, you can see that directly within Google Drive, there's a connection to your Google Apps. So I can click on that and I can access some of the other apps that are associated with my G Suite account, such as Classroom, Sheets, Slides, Google+, and so forth. I can change the view here. This is a list view. I can switch this over to a from between list and grid view. Right. So right now here's my list view, excuse me, I was in grid view before, and I can switch this back over to the grid view, where I can sort of see a bit of a preview of the document. Some of the other, to kind of conclude this, look at some of the customizations. You can notice here that I have this gray book here. I have I've added a red color to this. I can color code some of my folders. So I can right click on this folder and I could change the color of that. Right, so I can make this here purple. Right, so I can change the color of folders. That can help me with my own sort of organizational purposes. I did, of course, show you how to share a document earlier, but I can actually share an entire folder, right, through both a shareable link and through sharing with an individual. Right. If I look at an individual document here, so let's see this Brooklyn Village document. I haven't noted the ability to also view some of the details of it. So I can view details of the document. So I can see here the sharing permissions, and I can even see some of the activity about when I edited this document, when I created it. So that can be kind of helpful, as well as other details about the document, the type of document it is, where it's located. I can even add a description, right? So I can put a description. This might be helpful. Like this is my description. Right, so I've been able to add that as well. So that way, when I'm sort of navigating through my documents, this may give me, instead of opening up and looking at it, I would be able to sort of see some of the particulars of that document in terms of how I might use that document. Okay, so I do have the ability to add that content if I had a description associated with those individual files, right? So here, for example, I just added that this is my description, right? So I have those options that are available within this as well. I can certainly click on, if I'm hovering over Brooklyn Village, I can click on preview and I can get a preview of that before actually opening the full document, right? So that's kind of a neat feature as well. And finally, just keep in mind that there's anytime you have a sort of question or issue with respect to G Suite, there is also this G Suite training link that is connected to your DDSB account. I can click on that link and I can do a very specific search for anything within G Suite, right? So I could type in, when this comes up, I could type in, say, Google Docs. And if I type in Google Docs, it's going to give me very specific training instructions for that. You can see here there's very short videos associated with that come up with my search result. So this is connected right within your document. So I think that takes us to the conclusion of this this overview of G Suite, and more specifically looking at understanding Google Drive. If you have any questions, please contact your educational technology coach or your school's educational technology leader or TL. You can also, of course, contact the Innovative Education Department at our general inbox, which is innovative.education@ddsb.ca. I'm John Edwards, and thank you very much for watching.